babysitting my godbrother in the playground when it started to get dark, and he decided it was time to go home. I put the address in Google Maps, told him we should be on our way, and started walking. Immediately, he turns to me and asks, "How do you know how to go?" Well, I explained. There's this app on my phone where I can put in an address and it'll give me directions on how to get there. How does it know? There's this big metal thing in the sky called a satellite. It's really high up there, so it can see where I want to go and tell me how to get there. How does the satellite see in the dark? Well, actually, the satellite doesn't really need light to see. It sends signals through the air. This idea went over his head, no pun intended. And he thought about it for a while before coming back with, "It's okay, you don't need light to get home. My sneakers light up in the dark." The questions continued once we got home, ranging from topics like, how does the satellite get up there? What's a space rocket? How does it get off the ground? What's gravity? What's mass? By bedtime, he had a very basic understanding of signals, spaceflight, physics, and what I didn't know at the time, even more questions for the morning. Almost all children have played this game, which I like to call the why game, where they ask a question, which leads to another question, which leads to another question, leading you down this rabbit hole of whys. The reason we stop playing this game is usually due to impatience or the fact that no matter what answer we give, we know it'll just result in another question. The why game usually ends with, "Because that's just the way it is," or "Because I said so." However, more important than why we stopped answering these questions, why do we stop asking them? When was the last time we pursued something just out of curiosity or the desire to understand? Why did we stop asking why? The Wikipedia definition for a question is a linguistic expression used to make a request for information. Now, when we're young, we are objectively dumb. We don't know anything, really. But the basis of our learning comes from the question, this request for information. What is this? Can I eat it? No, this is my foot. It's inedible. What about this? This is a crayon. It does not taste very good. What about this? This is a Cheerio. It is delicious. Little by little, through questioning, we get a better sense of the world around us. As we get older, we tend to have asked enough questions to develop a worldview that we are comfortable with, and we have a sense of security in holding on to answers to questions that we previously didn't know. However, what we may not understand is happening is that our answer network is calcifying, and while some answers may remain correct, a good number of them may not. A great example of this is the story of the eradication of smallpox. Now, smallpox is an extremely dangerous disease that killed over 300 million people in just the first half of the 20th century. To give you an idea of how many people that is, that's around the current population of the United States. Traditional medicine of the time provided no relief, and doctors had no answers. Some people were asking the question, why is this happening to us? What did I do to deserve this? While others asked, what can I do about this? Enter English physician Edward Jenner. Jenner found himself in the latter group of questioners, and with a question that he would not rest until he found an answer to. While looking for a solution, he found himself asking the question, why aren't milkmaids getting smallpox? And he thought about it for a while. Their immunity was baffling, but he also observed that milkmaids were commonly contracting cowpox. Cowpox is a similar but much less virulent disease than smallpox. And Jenner hypothesized that because they were exposed to cowpox, their immune systems were better equipped to combat the disease, and thus they were inoculated. Doctors of the time would call him crazy, but he decided to try his hypothesis and take pus from a cowpox blister and insert it into an incision in a young boy. The boy became feverish, but recovered quickly, and when Jenner introduced a mild culture of smallpox, the boy was immune. Jenner, in continuing to question the medical practice of his time, introduced the idea of vaccination into the world. But in theory, the idea is ridiculous. Let me give you a breakdown of how this works. Here's an extremely dangerous disease. Now what we're gonna do is take its less dangerous cousin, cut you open, put it into your bloodstream, and the thinking is that your body will learn to recognize the face of the cousin so that when any member of the family tries to get in, it knows that it's not welcome. However, because Jenner knew the right questions to ask, he knew that his hypothesis was worth pursuing. By having a comprehensive understanding of what was possible, he could reach the impossible with just the right question. What we must understand about our questions is that their answers often lie well within the reach of our cognitive abilities, just waiting to be discovered. While the idea of wireless telecommunications may completely surpass a child's understanding, the idea of my phone sending little messages to a big metal thing in the sky is a much more palatable explanation. Breaking down the unknown with our questions takes work, but is often very rewarding. The sensation of discovery has commonly been referred to as a light bulb going on, or a spark. And interestingly, on the neurological level, this is exactly the case. When we discover something, neurological pathways are established, and a jolt of electricity is sent along that newly formed pathway to bring together bodies of information and suddenly giving context to our queries. That split second of gratification when it finally clicks, that's the feeling that I want everyone to crave. When we become too comfortable with our ideas and our knowledge is when we become stagnant. We can't find answers to questions that we never asked. Only by maintaining a spirit of curiosity and looking at the world with childlike wonder can we continue to be amazed and awed by what we find. However, there might be questions that we may not find the answers to, or we might have answers that change constantly. Questions like, what kind of person should you be? What's the meaning of your life? How do you know where to go? However, we must continue to ask those questions to connect not just to ourselves, but to others and the world around us. Why? That's for you to find out.